we often do this. We call it this bonus time to contend and connect. Contend meaning, y'all, life is not easy. Many of us have gone through some very difficult things this year. So, this contend call has come from us being brought to our knees um,
Mm.
in prayer, in sorrow, in lament, and in contending to say, Jesus is the one that, like Aunt Deb shared at the closing of our community prayer call. The thing that will bring us through is not gazing at our problems and glancing at God. It is gazing at God as He helps, as He holds our hand and walks us through life in all of the ups and downs, the valleys, the mountains, the prayer requests that turn into praise reports. And so this little bonus time has just been a gift. And what came to me this week was to invite two beloved sisters to share a 10-minute Advent reflection with us because I love what I have heard from them on how Jesus is holding their hands as he walks them through and to Advent's end on Christmas Day. And what I want to emphasize for anyone who's new to Advent, it's simply a journey of the days leading to Christmas. And it's around waiting, it's around trusting that Emmanuel, who is both with us now, is preparing room in our hearts for something new every year. We can go through Advent every year and it will always be new because he is always bringing something new to us. So after Erin and Deborah share, I'll pause our recording and we will close up our call with anything that any of you on the call want to share. And I pause the recording because I want to just make sure anyone who has something more private in nature to share, it's for you that we gather. Okay. So I'm just going to open our time in prayer and read 3 scriptures for each of our 3 candles that are burning. And then I'm going to turn it over to Erin and Deborah one by one. So, Jesus, we come to you today in the middle of week 3 of Advent. I ask that in this bonus time to contend and connect, you meet each sister and brother on this call, whether they're here with us live or listening to a replay, and that they hear the whisper of you, Emmanuel, God with us, that they feel your arms around them, that they feel your presence in a way you know they need. You are never not with us. But wow, sometimes the lot crowds you out. So I ask for a miracle touch from you, a miracle filling up the cups of each and every one on this call. The first Advent candle that is glowing right here is the candle of hope. And the one scripture I want to read is Psalm 135 through 6. I wait for the Lord, my soul waits, and in his word I hope. I pray a blessing of hope on each and every one who is with us. The second candle is the candle of peace. Oh, and Jesus, we need peace. Philippians 4, 6 through 7. The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts. May it be so today. And the third candle, a symbol of joy. Oh man, I know I need joy, and I am blessing y'all with joy. This is from Jesus, from the mouth of Jesus to you. John 15, 9 through 11, a little excerpt. I have said these things so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. That is our audacious hope that there is peace, hope, and joy embodied in you in this moment because of Jesus in you. If you don't feel it, hold your hands open and just say, I need it. And I am praying that you will get a fire hose of whatever you need today from Jesus. So I'm going to invite my sister Deborah to join us. She was able to join us for our Seeds Advent retreat on Saturday. And she came up to me with tears in her eyes and she said, Sarah, this Advent, there's something new happening in me. I am new this Advent, is what she said. So as I was praying about how to close out this year, I thought, I want to invite my beautiful, beloved sister, Deborah, to share whatever God has put on her heart to share with us, because this is the treasure of our family in Jesus, is sharing and witnessing one another's stories. So I invite you to two things, both as Deborah shares and as Erin shares. The first thing is just witness the cool story that they're sharing. And as I say, wave your pom-poms on, wow, what a sister Deborah is. What a God is God to be so present in Deborah's life and the way that she's about to share, and Erin's. And then secondly, I invite you to nestle in, hold your hands open and ask, what are the seeds that God intends to plant in your story, in your heart, in your mind, in your body, in your spirit, in your emotions? Because in the expansive economy that is Jesus, as Deborah shares her story, there will be seeds planted in your story. So, Deborah, welcome. Thank you for joining. And I'm gonna, I welcome you to share your heart. You're muted. Hang on, still muted. Gotta love Zoom, right? We'll get there, we'll get there. Ask to unmute. It's not working.
There we go. I
Yeah,
don't know. I clicked it 3 times and finally
there we
the
go.
magic
Third
third
time
one.
was the charm.
Yeah.
Welcome,
Um,
sister.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everybody. I it's so funny when Sarah says share your story. It's like I do I have a story? So I had to be reminded because I didn't even remember what I said to you, Sarah. So thank you for reiterating that because I had no idea what I had said to you, but it's accurate and it's true. I think in sharing what I want to kind of keep my eye on the time here, and you might remind me too because I can get talking. Um, I feel like for me, Advent this year started before Advent. Sarah had mentioned in emails, and I think in an event at her house, that Advent was coming, that this was a wonderful time to open our hearts and to prepare. And I think it kind of went through and kind of caught a little bit, and I heard it again. It kind of caught again, and I was pretty curious because I hadn't thought about Advent since I was a kid. Really, I have not celebrated Advent. I think when our kids were little, I had an Advent wreath, but really, I look at all the Advent calendars that come out. I saw one this year for like skincare, a new skin coupon. And I'm like, and that's how I have been seeing these Advent calendars. They literally are just often, most of the time, something to sell product. So it has never even caught my attention, to be honest, in a way that had touched my heart. But I was curious now, thinking about the words that you had shared so many times, Sarah, about this is 4 weeks to open our heart to make room. And of course, make room, all I can think of is joy to the world, because that's, prepare him room. But I never hear that till Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. And by then, we should be celebrating the room that we already created. But I have not thought of it that way. And so for me also this year, because I have been on this journey, with this group and all its different manifestations, um, I felt like I had to, or I wanted to, or I had been actually already building, like I think you have to almost, at least for me, prepare to prepare. And I think that I know 100% that be beloved by going through those 40 days. Um, okay, I've really only done like 37 or maybe 35. Done most of them. But by doing that as a group and individually, that prepared me to prepare for Advent, or to prepare me for Advent, which is preparing me for Christmas. So now everything has changed. This entire fall season, which for me, because of some experiences earlier in my life that were traumatic in November, I used to kind of have a hard time in the fall, even though it all resolved and everything turned out well and everything. But I had this nagging thing throughout fall, even as we moved in. And this became a joyous fall, and became a joyous time. And as everyone asks you, oh, are you ready for Christmas? Like people in store, people say, "Oh, are you ready for Christmas?" And God, now I'm emotional. It's like, I am. No, I am not in the terms of what you're asking. Of course, I have a lot to do to prepare the actual wrapping and food and all that. But I love that I feel, as you said, that I said open, like that I'm expanding and have been over the months, and that like Christmas Day now is just pure celebration. So I'm very, very happy about that. What I haven't talked about yet, and I don't know how long I've been talking yet, but um the Advent, the day, the adventure at your house, the retreat, or I keep calling it an Advent retreat, and I don't know if those were your words or not. When I got there, I couldn't get there for I was about 45 minutes late, so it was in full swing. And I walked in the door, and immediately what I felt was just a really good feeling. I mean, I can say peace. I just, everyone was doing their solo activities, but in silence, and I don't know what they were all experiencing, but the combination of what was being put into the air was just like a hug walking in there. Um, I spent the end of the what was left of that first period is broken into sort of three, I think it's three, right, Sarah, periods of time, of activities, separate activities, and we would come together. I spent the end of the first one um, out in the yard looking this little platform that I could stand on. And as Sarah knows, I grew up in Park Hill. I don't go there much except to go to Sarah's house, but I hadn't looked into to her neighbor's yard is where I spent a lot of my time growing up. As it turns out, one of my very, very dear friends had a gathering at her house. Like we just hung out. That was the hangout place. So I was in touch. It put me just in this unique opportunity to be in touch with something I hadn't been in touch with for a long time, both through how I spent Advent as a youth and how I spent my youth in general. So that was just, I didn't do any of the activities with the group. That I just was kind of on my own little journey. And I looked also at the ground, as you might know, some of you, it was a beautiful day. So standing out there so comfortable, just feeling the sun warming me, warming my heart that was already feeling warm from just being there. And I realized another part of that song, Joy to the World, it says, um, let heaven and nature sing, let heaven and nature sing. And for me, standing on the ground, realizing it's like those hands that you're always holding up, Sarah, that we're being held by the ground. The ground is holding all of this. And I wanted to honor that. And I know my mind's a little heightened to it. It's going to sound like an ad or something. It's not. I literally just finished writing a novel called The Ground Beneath Our Feet. And it's about a lot of things. It's about climate change and how important where we stand is and how it roots us to our beginnings. And I was just thinking a lot about my beginnings, which is a theme that, or my youth, which has carried me kind of throughout the whole retreat in a way, because when we came in for I don't know which section, but I guess the third and last section of the retreat, for some reason, I can't remember what I did on the second section, but the third section, I went into the dining room where they had activities set up. I did two of them, which were, um, and I wish I'd been here earlier for more of the prayer today because uh, this idea of letting go the things that we're holding on to so fiercely. Um, Two of those exercises really helped me. They were individual exercises. I was quiet. They helped me immensely with one thing that I'll bring up in future prayer sessions for a child of mine, and I just can't let it go, and I can't stop praying about it constantly. And it really helped me to do that. And that moment with someone else sitting next to me doing their own thing, it didn't, there was no, there was a strengthening of it. You're not self-conscious. You're not thinking, oh, wish I were alone to do that. You're not interacting with the other person, but your energy is together. Your prayers are together. And that was just the theme throughout that whole Advent retreat. Sarah, have I gone past 10? I'm getting close to the end. I'll just say,
You have 2 minutes. You're good.
okay, perfect. Okay. The what I did at the end then was to walk out the front door. Sarah had said, City Park's really close. There's a lake. And that was my intention as I walked out the door to go down and spend some time in nature there. But instead my feet turned to the right without my permission. And I walked several blocks. The church and school where I spent 8 years of my life is 5 blocks up the street. Hadn't been there in decades. I walked through there, just trying to get in touch with because I was a very spiritual, religious child. Um, and I looked at the church, which I was a little intimidated to walk into, and I went over and I thought, I'm just going to peek in. And I opened up the door, and I didn't know what I would experience, and it was open. I was glad. And I felt very happy and peaceful. And I was so happy to know that that was my experience of God growing up. I wasn't sure until I stood in there. And I just want to leave with this one last moment. I had a very full, short Advent thing, but I mean, a lot seemed to happen in just that very little time during the retreat. I knelt down and I was praying, and I remembered, and even as I was walking in, I remembered a moment of Advent as a youth, as like a 7-year-old. I, God, I'm emotional. I was with my grandmother, and she took me in for something at night. It was candlelit, and I have flashed on that memory, not really being in touch with what it was, but I know it was Advent, and I know I was dressed warm, and it was November, and I just, it was a reminder to me that everything we do with our children and our grandchildren and the kids in our life around Advent, around opening our heart, is really impactful, even when it's deep in the subconscious. And it brought all that out. So that was my opening for the day. And I'm so grateful to you and Brandon, Sarah, both for just creating the intention to create the intention. And something has to start it, and you started it. And thank you.
Mm, You're
That's it.
welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, Deborah,
Thank you.
for
Thank you.
sharing all of that. And I would just love to invite y'all that have been listening. I just want to create a moment to just notice what's the seed or two or three that you know is meant for you from Deborah's story. Um, just notice it. You don't have to do anything with it. This is the good news of Jesus is he does the heavy lifting. He will water, nourish that seed, but just notice the seed. And kind of imagine taking it with you into the rest of your day. And take a breath. We've been practicing this word sila, which is in the Psalms, which is pause in my presence between stories or between things. So before we even bring on Erin, we're gonna sila. Take a breath. Be grateful for the story of our sister Deborah. And we bless you, Deborah, in what remains of this Advent. And we will bring on our sister Erin. This is so fun. I wish we could do this all day long, just one by one, bring on more people, because I know everyone has a story. But wow, does this sister ever have a story? This is Erin. Don't worry about the orientation. It's weird with the phone Zoom E. Um, but I am so excited, whether you know and love Erin as I do, or you are just seeing her for the first time as she figures out how to unmute. Tap, sweat. Oh, there, she did it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Will it stay
Okay, now
on?
you gotta, now we can hear you but not see you. Tap on that screen, and I think on the bottom left is the way to unmute. Zoom on the phone is so tricky. Just tap. So I'm gonna
There,
there.
it came on. There.
Okay,
It's the same screen doesn't show every time. I don't know why. Can
it's
you
so
see me and hear me?
I can see you and hear you.
Okay, good.
So, y'all, I am so excited to just turn the mic over to my sister Erin. I'm holding a mic up. Um, and every time Erin opens her mouth, I receive some morsel of goodness. And I just love you, E. Thank you for being willing to hop on and share a 10-minute Advent. I feel like you're about to share a present that's going to be unwrapped by each of us, and we'll all get something from it. So, again, just the twofold invitation is as Erin shares, just be like, wow, she's amazing. And I love God's story in her, kind of in that witnessing and waving your pom poms. And the second movement is be noticing what gift there is in Erin's story for you, because that's how Jesus is. He can bless Erin in Advent and bless you in the same movement. So, you're welcome and thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Sarah. I had so many thoughts, and I still have so many thoughts pinging around. So I hope what I say is not too disjointed. But I think um, for me, I coming into this Christmas, I'm coming back into a season of sort of a new normal after 2 years of going through breast cancer and two major surgeries and radiation, and then just the effects in my body and my mind and my heart and my family. Um, and being on a medication now that, to be honest, makes me feel crummy a lot of times, like emotionally, mentally, but is necessary, to sort of keep for a cancer recurrence. So coming into Advent, I wanted, so much for it to be meaningful. And, I was like, I need love, I need joy, I need peace, I need, just like really like I don't know, like imagine a little kid like running around in the yard, like trying to grab like leaves that are flying in the wind to capture them and feeling this. I was realizing that I was not feeling any love or joy or peace. I was feeling really like frenetic and stressed and anxious, and not about like Christmas presents, not about decorating my house, but like how do I make it meaningful, and how do I make it meaningful for my 8-year-old son who all he can talk about is toys and what he wants and is bouncing off the walls. How can I make it meaningful for my husband? How can I carry this for my family and for myself? And I got to get up early and I need to have my candles, and do I need to order like this new devotional? Because I have so many, but I need something new. So I was just, it was like having the complete opposite effect, I think, of what um, Jesus wants for us. And then, I would maybe go to social media, and on social media, even like really well-meaning people or, a lot of people are like, this is how you do, don't do Christmas like this, then you're doing it wrong, or don't do Advent like this. That's not the way to do it. You got to do it this way. And that made me feel more pressured. Like, oh my goodness, like I'm on this tightrope. And if I'm gonna fall off and not get what I feel like I want and need. And so I was just kind of tying myself in knots. And then I just had this, well, I didn't have it. I think, God gave me this word saying, stop, just stop. I am coming to you. I am coming to you. You don't have to run around and be frenzied. You could go through all of Advent and not even sit down and have a candle lit Advent devotional moment, and I could still make your Advent meaningful. I can make it meaningful when you're, washing dishes, when you're, standing in a line somewhere, when your ornament falls off the tree and shatters, when the dog wakes you up at 2 a.m. to go outside in the wind and the cold, like last night, like I am the one that's in charge of your Advent, not you. And you know what? If you were like a person that didn't even know about Advent or follow the church calendar, that would still be okay. So that gave me um, a lot of relief. And there's a little prayer that we do with my son a lot of times in the morning, and 2 lines of it is at the end. I don't have to hurry. I don't have to worry. I can trust my friend Jesus and share his love with the world. And so I find myself repeating that. I did it for him, but it's really for me. I find myself repeating it, over and over and over. And it really does give me a sense of peace when I start feeling frantic, like, oh, I forgot about this person. Maybe I need to get a gift, or oh, I have a burden for this friend, and what can I say, or what can I do? And I can just release it. And it doesn't mean that I'm just really being passive, although I am trying to receive in kind of an openness and in a passive way, which has its own challenges because I like to be large and in charge. So um, that's what I've been practicing. And I think related to this is I love all things British. I really love British, including like British television. And I've been watching this sort of random show called Rescue at Sea. And it's all about like the lifeboats, the volunteer lifeboat crews and stuff all over the coast of Ireland, Scotland, England. And each episode highlights these rescues. And I mean, they are amazing. And every time, I mean, did you know people can still get stuck like in quicksand, like on the beach when the tide goes out? Like they get into their knees, they literally cannot get out, and the tide is coming in. Horses get stuck, dogs get stuck. A boat out there like loses its rudder, or kids are in a floaty and they get blown out like in a riptide. And like it's real peril. Like people are drowning, people are stuck, people fell off a cliff and broke their leg or stumbled on a rock. And every time, I mean, they really only show the happy stories, which is also probably why I like it. They show the good endings, but this crew jumps into action and they go to that person. That person can't do anything. They're helpless. They're waiting. They're broken. They're wounded. They're, usually they're really scared, really upset, and this crew goes to them and they rescue them. And the other thing about it is they never, when the crew goes and this theme goes through like every story, they never say like that, like it was so stupid. Like what made you think you could swim after your dog, like in a riptide? Or like, didn't you pay attention to how much gas you had in your boat? Or why would you think that you could hike on this, you're a 70-year-old lady. What makes you think you could be hiking on this rocky beach to see the seals? They never like condemn or blame. They just say, we're here to help you. We're here to rescue you. And it just dawned on me, like the other day after been watching the show for weeks, like that is what Jesus is doing for us all the time. So even in Advent, he's not saying like, if you just get just the right author's book for just this moment in your life, then that's going to be, if you read the right verse or if you have the right songs playing and the right music, he's just coming to us all the time. So that has been my theme. And if I have time, I just wanted to read you one little thing. A lot of you know who Kate Bowler is, and I got introduced to her because she also had she had very serious cancer actually. So she writes a lot about like ugliness and beauty and heart and different things and in life. And so this is a little blessing that she wrote for Advent. Uh, Blessed are you with open arms to welcome God this Advent, willing to invite its promises into the center of your longing. Blessed are you, even now in the waiting, open to receive. Oops, I changed my page. Open to receive what is beautiful though clothed in such precarity. Blessed are you, agreeing to stand still long enough to let your eyes adjust to the darkness until the starlight begins to appear, the dawning of God's promises. In that gentle light, find a corner of your heart where hope can stay protected, a place from which we can nurture a little gratitude, a little compassion, enough to go around, some for God and some for yourself, and some for the next unsuspecting soul that wanders into your light. Advent says, open your arms. My nervous system says, clench everything forever. Amen. It's kind of a funny ending, but I think that that's true, is that we have to say, what is like spiritual and what is God doing for me versus what is my brain and my nervous system telling me to clench and grasp and strive for. So that's my Advent story.
Thank you. Wow. Okay, y'all, I'm going to invite you to do the same thing we did with Deb. Just like Erin read and talked about, let's just create a little moment of silence, of pause before the next thing to allow whatever Jesus intends for you in this gift that Erin gave us to just well right up and just notice what's in your hands from her story, from her offering. And just welcome Jesus to water it, shine his love light on it, grow it. Kind of like Erin said, you don't got to do a lot. Just notice and welcome and say yes to whatever's in your hands. And Erin, we want to say thank you for the gift of you, your voice, your story. Thank you, sister, so much for sharing the raw, the real with us. Do you see what I mean, y'all, on how we could just go around around our Zoom room and one by one, it would be so fun to unmute and hear a 10-minute nugget from everyone because it's so good, so rich. So I'm going to read this closing blessing from Frederick Buechner. The incarnation, which is God, Jesus coming to us, is the place, if you will, where hope contends with fear, and where God shows that love will take on flesh and dwell among us. So, Jesus, as we continue to walk towards Christmas, towards Advent, to Advent's end in 2025, will you birth whatever new thing you want in each of us and plant seeds of hope and peace and joy and love in the soil of our everyday life amidst all that is overwhelming, exciting, terrifying, exhilarating, amidst our health and our sickness, our dashed hopes and our audacious ones. Will you be the one on whom we set our sights, set our hope, set our gaze this day, this Advent, and really for the rest of our lives. Thank you for Deborah. Thank you for Erin and their hearts, their stories. We pray a boomerang of blessing onto them for the time they shared and the vulnerability of just sharing how they be and what you are stirring in them. In the name of Jesus, amen. Y'all, God bless you and Merry Christmas. Thank you for being with us.